So apparently video games make you violent. Now, here's a hot take I've never heard of before. I've never heard of this political argument before. Violent video games produce mass shooters. Wow. What a refreshing stance to have. But looking back on my life, maybe there's some moments where I guess I could see that argument. I guess, yeah, there's things where I'm just like, wow, that the video game made me do it. It made me do it. Like when I played Super Mario Bros. For the first time, and next thing you know, I'm finding wild turtles and I'm jumping on them. Mario made me do it. He told me to do it. Or after I beat Pokemon, I took my pet dog, and then I made it fight other random animals in the wild. That's because Pokemon made me do it. That game made me go out there and start fighting random animals. It's like dog fighting, but there's more diversity. There was also a time after I beat my first Phoenix Wright game where I went to court and I won my first case. I was attorney. I was instantly an attorney, and I won that very first court case. Actually, I won all of them. I'm undefeated. Man, yeah, video games. Thank you, video games. Or how about that time where I lost a game of Mortal Kombat with my friend, and I got so mad, I literally ripped out his spine. I reached into his body and ripped out his spine. You never forget the first time you rip out someone's spine. That stays with you forever. Or after I started playing Doom, I became a legitimate certified demon hunter. I went on a demon hunting rampage. The power and influence of video games is crazy, man. It made me do all those things. There's plenty more I could list off, but I think you see my point. Chalking every bad thing that happens in the world, or all the mass shootings, like saying that's all because of video games, is just such a paper thin thing to say, because obviously that's not true. These people have something going on with them. There's no one ever wants to address mental issues, or like chaotic upbringings, or crazy like political stances or anything, or just flat out racism. I don't know. No one ever chalks it up to any of those things. It's always video games, which are so commonly played. Millions upon millions of people play video games, and if video games really made people go out and do all these things, there would be such a high number of people doing these things. It would be nonstop, all day, every day. It wouldn't be a handful of people. It'd be hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of mass murderers out there. Although if there were that many mass murderers out there, there wouldn't be that many people killed. Maybe it wouldn't be like, it would be a lot. It would be a lot. I was saying if everyone was killing everyone, it'd be a much smaller number of murderers out there. But you see my point. Playing video games, playing a Mario game doesn't make you a turtle like genocide expert. Going around playing Pokemon doesn't automatically make you a like dog fighter or dog trainer or animal trainer. I don't know. It doesn't make you any of those things. Playing Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney doesn't make me a lawyer. The examples go on. Playing Fire Emblem doesn't make me a master tactician. I kind of feel like it, but it doesn't. Playing a video game doesn't make you do any of these things. And going back to everyone, a lot of people play video games. It's such like a common thing that people do to, pass the time, hobbies, go online, play with their friends, whatever. And there's a lot of other common things that are never mentioned. No one ever mentions the shooter, he watched football, so therefore maybe football is causing all the violence. No one ever says, oh, well, he was wearing shoes, maybe shoes are the cause of it, or he liked dogs. Right? Nothing. It's so common. Like maybe video games are not as common as those other things, but it's pretty damn close, right? It's ridiculous to make that connection out of everything else. The shooter drinks water. Maybe water's the problem. No one ever says stupid stuff like that because it sounds stupid when you say it. You'd be like, well, duh, everyone drinks water. And now are you getting my point? Are you getting he played video games. Everyone plays video. He played Call of Duty. Like millions, like how many people buy Call of Duty every year? Doesn't the game still sell like 20 million or something, like 15, 20 million? It's ridiculous. And if video games are the cause of this, then how come America is the only one that has this problem? It's not like video games are exclusive to America. They're worldwide. They're in plenty of other countries that, by the way, have a much lower mass shooting rate than we do. Some of them is like non-existent. A lot of them is non-existent. So it's only a problem here in the United States, here in America. And I think you guys know what the real problem is. No one ever wants to talk about it, but it's just a mental health problem. It's a cultural problem. Uh, Obviously, since it only happens here in one country. I'm going to be real honest here. It's truly sad that this keeps happening. And this is the cycle. This is the same song and dance we've seen from politicians for how long now? A long time. Every time something like this happens, they say, oh, it's because of video games. Then that's it. That's all they do. It's because of video games. Nothing ever happens. They don't actually start banning or regulating video games, because I'm sure that some of these bigger companies make a lot of money and pay off these politicians. So they'll take the heat for a little bit. It'll simmer down and it'll stay quiet until the next terrible thing happens. And then all of a sudden, let's blame video games. And it's going to repeat over and over again. It's already repeated so many times. Here's a thought. Why don't we teach kids to respect others? Why don't we teach kids to value life? Why don't we teach kids to just, teach them about diversity, in that it's not a bad thing? Why don't we do those things? Why don't we do that? Tell me what video game started World War I. Tell me what video game started the Vietnam War. Tell me how many hours into the Call of Duty our founding fathers put into the game before they went out and started the American Revolution. Answer me that. Go ahead. Answer me that question. Answer me all those questions. And for you older folks out there, I want you to think back of what the problem of your generation was. Our generation, our problem is video games. What was the other problems? What was the problem of your generation? Was it rap music? Was it rock music? Was it television? Was it the radio? Whatever era you're from and whatever your parents blamed your generation for, I want you to think back to that. I want you to think back to those moments and go, no, that's stupid. Radio wasn't the problem. Rock music wasn't the problem. Rap music wasn't the problem. Think back to that. Think back to that. And then I want you to think about this and how dumb it sounds that people are actually saying this to our generation. There's probably more arguments and analogies to be made, but I don't think I need to dive into it any further than that. And if your stance hasn't changed, it's quite frankly, nothing's going to change your mind. So here we are. I wish that making this video and talking about it like this, bringing up these points, would change everything, but it won't. History repeats itself. It already has several times, and there's no changes being made, and there's probably going to be none made after this goes up, and it's going to be a vicious cycle. It's going to just keep on repeating itself until something changes. But then again, what would I know? I'm just some guy on the internet.